Man, what's up, everybody? This is Life,
What it do, y'all? It's your boy Swallow.
and this is Just Do the Damn Thing podcast.
Do the damn thing, do the damn thing, yeah. Do the damn thing, do the damn thing, yeah. Do the damn thing, do my damn thing. I'ma do my damn thing. I'ma do my damn thing.
So, welcome back to another episode of Just Do the Damn Thing podcast. I'm your boy Life. This is Swalo. Sorry for taking a long hiatus. You know, it was the holidays. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving and whatnot. We're still trying to spice up the studio, making some changes and whatnot. Had to do some painting and all that kind of other stuff.
Yeah.
But Swalo,
We're still upgrading it, guys. We still got some plans for here on the back wall, make it look nice. So bear with us. So yeah, everything's coming together. So that's why we, taking a lot of time off and whatnot. But we're here today, and the studio will come together. So we appreciate you guys
sir.
stopping by.
Exactly. So, Swalo, what do we got going on for today? What are we talking about, man?
All right. So today's topic, the question is, if judgment is for God, why do we pass judgment? You want me to take it, or you want to?
Go ahead for it.
Okay.
Go ahead, man. What would you
All
wanna
right.
say?
So if judgment is for God, why do we pass judgment? I believe we pass judgment because we all inherently know what's good and what's bad, right? So the Bible says we were created in God's image, so we all have a piece of God with us. We're all a part of God, we're God's children, just like your dad, whatever the case may be, your ancestors go on, so on and so forth. We're all a part of God. And so we all inherently know what's good and what's bad. So we pass judgment saying, hey, that's bad, or hey, that's good, you should keep that up, but we're not perfect, right? We're still human.
Definitely
We're still in the human flesh. We're not, spiritual beings yet. We're still in our human flesh. We're still evolving. We're still growing, still developing. We're not quite God yet. You know what I mean? Who knows if we ever get to that level,
We're little G's right now.
lowercase
We're
G's.
lowercase G's.
Yeah, and so we all know, I believe every single human being inherently knows what's good and what's bad. And a lot of us pass judgment and, either to critique or whatever the case may be. But a lot of the time that we do this, a lot of us are just passing on insecurities. That's the thing with a lot of people, is they feel like they're passing on criticism and that they're helping or whatever the case may be. A lot of the times you're just passing on your insecurities to the next person. Whatever you're fearful of, you might judge somebody. Let's say, for instance, you rap, you'd be like, oh, you'll never make it with that rap music, man. Cut that out. You know what I mean? It's like, no, that may not be the case at all. He could probably be the biggest rapper in the world, but your insecurities say that it's not possible for you. So you're passing on and projecting those insecurities onto the next man. So it's you're passing this judgment. You say you're keeping it real.
So it sounds like it's more envy.
Yeah, it could be
At the same time.
Yeah.
Because you're doing something that they wish they could do. So they're trying to bring you down to their level so they can feel better about themselves.
Yep, exactly. It's all projecting your insecurities in attempts to make yourself feel better about yourself. But you twist it up in your head thinking, oh, I know what's good. I know what's possible and what's not. And I'm trying to help him by helping him lower his expectations and just bypass that altogether so he can focus on something that's actually productive, something that would actually make him money, etc. But in all honesty, you're just projecting your insecurities because you don't believe it's possible for yourself. And it's not. And people like that, and we've all been victims of it. We've all been guilty of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm perfect. I was young and dumb too before, now I try to be more conscious. But those same people probably have those same doubts about anything. It's not just about rapping or being a musician, an actor, entrepreneur, whatever the case may be. They probably have doubts about anything, and I really like how you mentioned last time in one of our episodes that, making it 1 in a million, and that's almost in any field that you go into. Even if you want to be a doctor, how many people go into college and drop out because they can't make it? You know what I mean? The college graduation rate is less than 50% per college.
So here's my take on what you just said about that whole situation. For me, the reason why that is because we have been trained that the same insecurities that we talk about, we get discouraged so easy that we're not willing to put in the extra effort to see if we could actually pass. So school is easy. There's so many people that pass, college or whatever, and they're like C students, and they're not even really like actually giving it their all, and that's the reason why they end up out of college, and then they really don't even know
Yeah,
nothing.
then they get to the real world and it's like, what did
Yeah,
what
what
did
did
I
I
just do
actually
for the
learn?
last 6 years?
Exactly,
Yeah.
but they still pass. So it's not like it's hard. It's not like it's just that people give up so easily, and then they don't trust in themselves. They have so many insecurities in themselves that they believe that it's far fetched to be able to do something, and they don't think that they can. So it's not that it's not possible, because it's very possible. They just have to believe in themselves to be able to do it. So when someone said, that's why all the people that, like, if you read this or hear the stories about the people that win, they're always the ones that put in that extra 105%,
Yeah.
and that
And just simply didn't give
just
up.
didn't give up. They're going. Those are the ones that always win because they never give up. The other ones that don't, they settle for what they think they have to settle for. So they go get a job or go work here, and they think that this is all that's left for them. So they just stay in their own head. It's like, and blah. So,
Yeah.
that builds that whole. And now what that builds that whole situation where now you're like, you get depressed. So now you're like, man, is this all I'm good for? And then you start
Exactly.
believing that that is actually all you're good for.
Right.
But if you believed in yourself, and fixed your mindset, you can definitely make any goal that you want and actually get to that goal if you just set your mind to it and don't give up.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't quit.
Yeah. So yeah, right. And back to the topic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's go.
So basically, yeah, that's why I believe that we pass judgment. Because we know what's good and what's bad. But a lot of the times when we do this, it's subconscious, and we pass off our insecurities, and a lot of us aren't even conscious enough, like I just said, we just do it subconsciously, and we just start passing judgment all around, thinking that it's being helpful or whatever the case may be. And then a lot of the times it may be, though. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of the times you may be coming from a pure heart, from a pure stance, and really trying to help and improve somebody, which to me isn't necessarily a bad thing. I feel like as long as you're coming with a pure heart and with the understanding of, hey, I don't know everything, but this is what I believe and this is what I think can help you.
See, here's the thing about that. I believe that you can give criticism and advice without being judgmental.
Right. Well,
So like the stuff, like the people that are judging, like they shouldn't necessarily judge. They should be like, I'm not judging. You can do whatever you want to, but this is what I found out on my path. I don't know if it was going to work for you,
right.
but this is how I would go about it. You can take it how you want to, and do you. No judgment. That's how it's supposed.
Okay,
Like,
I see.
you know
That's
what
what you're
I'm
saying.
saying?
And with that, I agree with 100%. Because I guess you can kind of say, though, like, kind of like judging and criticizing is almost like this, because
There's a
you're
fine
not.
line between it.
Yeah, well, because you're not judging the person, you're judging the situation, aka you're criticizing the situation and you're
Yeah,
analyzing
you're
it.
analyzing the
Yeah.
situation, and from your own intellect and from your own understanding,
Right.
you're giving an answer to something that may work for somebody, but it may not.
Yeah, and may
as
not.
long as you phrase it that
Exact,
way,
and you have that
and
understanding.
the understanding that you may not, you may not be right, but you may be right only because it may have worked for you,
Right.
or it may not have worked for you, and you're like, okay, this didn't work for me, so maybe you shouldn't do that.
Don't do this. Right.
But then you say maybe you shouldn't. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not passing judgment. You can do whatever you want to because
Right.
it's your life. But these are the things that I did and this is where it got me. And these are the things that I did where it did detrimental things to my life. So maybe you do those detrimental things and maybe work for you, but
Right.
This is just what I think.
Yep. And to add to that, again, to answer the question is we might pass judgment because we genuinely care about that person. We genuinely care about their circumstance and we want them to do well. We want them to succeed. So we give that critique and that constructive criticism, so that could be another reason why we pass judgment, But again, as long as we're doing it with a pure, honest heart and with the mind of learning as well, like you just phrased it, like, hey, I don't know everything. This is what has happened to me in the past, though. It might work, might not work, but here's my 2 cents to you. You do what you want with it.
Exactly. So for me, I think the answer is different per person. So some people pass judgment because of their insecurities. Some people pass judgment because they believe they're God, or
Yes.
or they don't believe in God. So
Yeah.
they're just gonna do whatever the hell they want to and believe that they can do it.
Uh-huh.
And then the other people, they just don't. We have it in our heads to think that we can't keep all the commandments because I don't even know if I want to say all. So Christianity, is taught to us to where we fall short from the glory. We all sin, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so that, to me, I thought about it from watching other people, and it makes sense from what I was listening to this video. I was like, it makes sense to say that is breeding a failure mentality.
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
It's to where we don't even try to keep all the commandments. We're just like, oh, well, we can't. We're all sinning anywhere,
sinners.
so we might as well just do what we want to do. And we make an excuse to say that all we have to do is ask God for forgiveness and he'll forgive us.
Right, yeah.
Instead of thinking, you know what? I'm going to try. I'm going to attempt to be perfect at least.
Right.
I'm going.
And then, even then, like, it's kind of set up to where even if you try your best and even if you're damn near close to perfect, it's still not good enough. You still have this God that is over you and you'll never be good enough. And maybe if he has a little bit of empathy for you, he'll let you in through the gates one day.
Well, I mean, but in the Bible, it says you can be perfect.
Oh, does it? Okay.
So it's saying, the way to be perfect is just to keep his commandments. So I think there's around 613 commandments or laws, right?
Oh, is it?
Yes.
I thought it was 10.
So no, that's just the main commandments that we talk about all the time. But there's around 613 of them.
Okay.
I think it's 618, 613. One of the two.
Well, that alone, I think they're already setting the bar so high.
But here,
for failure.
Let me keep going with that. So the thing is, a lot of these commandments we already do, and we don't even realize we're doing them. So it's not that much. And then this thing I was watching was putting into perspective on laws, right? So laws in the United States, there's over 1 million of them.
Okay.
So there's 1 million laws that we have to not break,
abide by. Yeah.
But we can't follow 600.
Right. Oh,
So,
okay. I see what you're saying.
see, these laws that we're abiding by, most of those laws we already do innately. We already do on, the other small laws are just things that, like, for instance, in the Bible it says not to eat swine. So that's one of the laws. We don't eat pork already.
No, yeah.
So certain people already follow that commandment.
Right. Okay.
So and then some people have it in their religions to not cut their beard, and that's actually in the Bible too. Is we're not supposed to shave it all the way off. We're supposed to keep our beard. Some people already do that.
Right.
Now for other people, they can't keep that commandment or whatever because or they won't keep that commandment.
Right.
They want to shave it or whatever.
Yeah.
Because they think it looks better for them. But technically, that's not a far-fetched thing to. It's not that hard not to shave your beard. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. I get you.
Trim it down.
Yeah.
But still, like
And
yours,
it
it's
still
stubble,
counts.
and it still counts.
Okay.
Because it's not you're not making it bald. That's what it's pretty much saying. Just like my hair too. I'm supposed to keep it to where even though I'm balding, I'm not supposed to shave it all the way bald. And just let it be be what it is.
Right.
God made it for you. This is your hair. And then one of the other ones is like, do you have any tattoos?
Do I have tattoos?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Tattoos.
Okay. So that's one of the other commandments is not to not to ink your body. So certain people don't believe in tattoos at all.
Right.
So they're already keeping that command. So
Yeah.
it goes on and on and on to where a lot of people already don't. And then when you ask for forgiveness, that means that when you repent and then start following the commandments. I already have tattoos, but now I can just say I'm not getting any more.
Right.
I can just from now on, I can say I'm not ever going to shave my beard again.
Right. Right.
You know, it's like these small things, but we just make it seem like it's so much because the number sounds high,
Right. Right.
and some of them are redundant. Like so, some of them are like guy and girl, or a woman and man type of situation, right? So
Okay.
it's like a woman is not supposed to do this, but a man's supposed to do this, but they both already usually do those things.
Right.
And
Right.
then the 10 Commandments, most of us keep most of the 10 already.
Yeah, those are easy.
Exactly, those are the easy ones. You know, shouldn't steal.
Yeah.
You know, treat thy brother like thyself. Not don't kill. Most people don't kill.
Yeah.
Like the higher percentage doesn't. Now there's too many that do. Of course, yes, there's too.
Right.
You know, but
That's a small percentage. So like
yeah.
the global population, it's nothing.
Exactly. So, I think back to the the topic though. I think people think that they can't keep those commandments, which is one of the things is not to pass judgment. It says God is the only one to pass judgment with the big G. So if God is the only one to pass judgment, why are we going against God? And that depends on your faith, right? So
Right.
for certain people, that depends on if you believe in God or not, or if you believe in Christianity or not, because maybe there's a different type of religion, and your God or whatever
Right.
will allow you to pass judgment or whatever the case may be, depending on, because people make up freaking religions all the time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they make up gods and stuff. So who knows what they believe in? Some people, I don't know. There's so many answers
Yeah.
to that question that I think it's on an individual basis on why they pass judgment. Me, I try not to pass judgment because I know that it's in the Bible, so I try my hardest not to do that.
Same, yeah. I try to pass judgment just knowing that I'm not perfect, you know. And then when I start to pass judgment, I feel guilty. I'm like, dude, you're not perfect. Like, shut up, you know. Like, stop, you know.
Exactly. And then again, you're supposed to be working on yourself, not other people.
Exactly.
So that's the whole
100%.
point of not passing judgment, is because like you just said, how are you going to pass judgment when you've already fallen short of the glory of yourself, and you're a sinner, you're doing all these things? You have no room to talk about another man and what they're doing. Everybody has their own individual journey with God, so you have to make sure you're not doing
Yeah.
things that you're not supposed to do. Now, what other people do, you can tell them, hey, I saw, again, it's not judging. It's saying, hey, I noticed that you do this. And if you are a Christian, or if you are someone of God type of faith, it says not to do this. So I'm not saying that you should or shouldn't. I'm just telling you what this says.
Right.
You can make your decision, and as long as I am doing my due diligence on letting it be known that it's against the laws of God, you make your own decisions after that.
Yeah.
I tried to give you advice,
Yeah.
but not necessarily judgment. 'Cause
Exactly.
I think judgment has like it's more negative, and plus a lot of people, when they judge, they be like, I can't believe this person.
Yeah.
They do that type of judgment.
Yeah.
So it's a different type of judgment than you're necessarily talking about. But yeah. So for me, it all depends on the individual person on how they're going to pass judgment, because there's so many ways people think about what judgment is.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it is ultimately up to God. Like I said, we are all a piece of God, so we all know what's innately good or bad, and we're still trying to process it. You know, we're still young. We're nowhere near God level yet, but we have these instincts, we have these morals, these things, and we're just all trying to put it together, right? So I think that's why we pass judgment. We're still trying to put it together. We're still learning. We're still young, you know. But you got to have that understanding, is that you're not perfect yet. So maybe hold that judgment to yourself. If you really want to help somebody, try to go with the approach that you said, like, hey, you know, this is what this certain holy writing says, the Bible, whatever it is, or hey, I've experienced this before in the past. This is what I recommend or don't recommend, you know. But coming at it with a pure heart and with the understanding of you don't know it all yet, so be kind to each other, you know.
'Cause I'm a firm believer of this statement. I say it all the time, is once you believe that you know everything, you have already lost.
Oh, 100%.
Because it's impossible for you to know everything. Because one, you're not God, so you're never going to know everything. And
Not in this lifetime.
exactly, there's always room to grow. So never pass judgment. That's why I try my hardest not to judge people, because everybody has their own individual, paths and their own journeys, their own stories. So I have to worry about my story and how much I'm sinning, or how much laws am I keeping, and then and then again I give advice without passing judgment, because judgment is different than advice to me. So advice is just saying, hey man, I believe you could do this if you did this. It has worked for me. Maybe it will work for you. I could only lead somebody to water. I can't make them drink. So I'm never gonna judge you and or try to force you to do something that you may or may not be ready for.
Right. And I think if I'm catching your drift is why it's not really judgment, because I do agree with that. It's not really judgment because you're coming at it with a pure heart. You're not telling them that they're wrong. You're not, you know what I mean?
Exactly,
So,
because that's judging. Because now you're saying, you're ultimately giving
like,
them
I know
a
better than you.
stamp.
I'm better than you. You're wrong.
That's judgment to me.
Yeah, yeah.
So when you're saying that, that's a judgment. Because now that's why I said the people that go, "Oh, I can't believe this person doing that." That's judging. Because now you're saying you're better than the person that's doing that. When you have your own skeletons in your closet that you may not want to come
Yeah.
out, so you may
Yep.
want to shut up and just just keep moving.
And here's one piece of advice. This is what helps me on a day to day whenever I feel like I'm about to pass judgment or whatever. Is I've read this in a Buddhist book, or I saw it in a video one time. But instead of passing judgment, I say a prayer to that person, and for yourself as well. The prayer is, may you be happy and free from suffering, because that's all we ever want in life. We all want to be happy and free from suffering. So whenever you see somebody that's quote unquote sinning or doing something that goes against your morals or whatever the case may be, instead of passing judgment and focusing on how bad of a person they are, I say a prayer for them. I say, may you be happy and free from suffering. And I go on about my day. I don't think twice about it anymore. I say a prayer and I go on about my day, being conscious of my decisions, of my thoughts, and just improving myself and working on myself every day. I think that's the best thing you could do, is pray for somebody rather than pass judgment.
Yeah, and as you guys know, on this podcast, we talk a lot about being the best versions of ourselves. So
Yeah.
we're always trying to grow spiritually, mentally, and physically. So I'm always trying to make sure I make the best decisions for my health, for my whole health. So health me it encompasses physical, mental, and spiritual. That's all health. So I try to make sure that I'm growing at all times and making sure I'm becoming a better and better person each day. And I'm trying to learn every single day. That's why we had the whole situation with Today I Learned. Of course, we made it fun and
Yeah.
just random facts,
Yeah.
but it's something that we should be trying to do, is keeping our mind sharp, learning things, because it even said there's many statistics that talk about the more you read, the longer you keep your mind intact.
Oh, I believe that 100%, because that's what I was about to say. The best way to improve yourself every day is literally just reading. You can read 1 or 2 pages a day and you will learn something from that, and let that marinate, meditate on it, think about it, internalize it, and really try to understand it. And just doing that every single day, you are improving yourself. Just got to read a page or two. That's all.
Exactly. And it keeps your mind sharp because you start to really dig into things that you really never thought you would. And then you start to be able to translate that into wisdom once you actually start to experience what you're reading about. So, the experience of that reading will get you the wisdom of whatever field or whatever thing you're
Man, I
trying to
can't tell
do.
you how many times the books that I've read had done saved me from real life situations.
Facts. And I used
100%.
to hate reading when I was a kid.
I was never a reader. I didn't
hated
start reading until after I graduated high school
Facts.
on my own.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
me, I was in my 20s. Like I was like 26 when
Damn.
I started like really getting into books. Like I was reading here and there, but when it really flipped for me is when I was like around 26, 25 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then, which makes somewhat sense to me because that's when they say your mind is fully developed.
That's when your brain is operating at its highest, 26, 27 years old.
Exactly. So when I started getting told things I've always been observant, so I always take in information from other people. But once I started reading and then realizing, I'm like, damn, this is what I needed at all times. And then the funny thing is, I say I hated reading, but that wasn't actually the case.
No.
What I hated was school.
Yeah, it was school. That's what it was.
It wasn't that I hated reading. I hated reading, being forced to read something that didn't bring me enjoyment.
Yeah, and then get tested on it afterwards because you don't care about the book.
I didn't care about
so
the
now
book.
Stressing you about the test because you don't care about the test, but you got to do good for the test if you want a good grade. So yeah,
exactly. And for me, I'm the type of person that likes to read books that are not fictional.
Same.
The only fictional books I read are comic books. Those are my favorite things. As you know, I watch a lot of anime and stuff like that. So, but I like the life lessons that those particular
they
bring.
teach some good lessons in there.
But the things I like to read the most are things that are actual, like factual things. Like I love reading stuff about animals, about finance, obviously, because I'm in the financial literacy space. About healing and all that kind of health and all that kind of stuff. Self-help,
mental health, spirituality,
all those things. It piques my interest to the ultimate level. So, and those books and articles and things I see on Google that I've been randomly reading has been sharpening my mind like crazy. And as a kid, I realized I liked the type of fictional things I liked was comic books because I used to play RPG games. I don't know if you know what RPG games are, but have you ever heard of Final Fantasy? Final Fantasy. So it's like a role playing game. So when you're walking through stuff, you get to like talk to random people. And I used to read all the freaking dialogue. I used to read.
I used to skip through all of that.
See, I loved reading the dialogue because it was fun for me because I started to realize that they had what's called Easter eggs, right?
Yeah.
And normally reading the scripts would point you in the right direction of the Easter egg. So I love to go find. I love like puzzles and trying to go find things.
Yeah.
So I looked at those games differently than other people because I'm like, oh, this is great. I love like mystery solving things. That's why some of my favorite shows were like Bones and like other thing like CSI and stuff like that because it's like I'm solving something and in RPGs that's what it felt like.
Interesting.
So
that's dope.
But that's all I got for this.
Yeah, guys. So we hope you picked up something from this. Before you start passing judgment, reflect on yourself, and rather than passing judgment, say a prayer for that person. Because we're all suffering. No matter if you think somebody's got it all together or not, they don't. Nobody has it all together. Facts. Nobody has it all figured out. So say a prayer for them. Say a prayer for yourself. Ask God for strength and wisdom, and and to just keep you on the good path. So we hope you guys picked up something from this episode. If you did, make sure you like, share, subscribe, drop a comment, share this with your best friends, with your family, your cousins, your daughters, anybody, guys. We'll be back next week with another episode of Just Do the Damn Thing podcast. So until then, we're out. Peace.
Deuces.
OMG. Well, we keep going because the party don't stop. We turn up, doing our thing, just living our lives, and we don't stop. Open mind group so you know we won't flop.